Okay, Matthew, this is Mr. Earhart or Mike, whatever you call me. We're making a video. You just left the house, and now we're continuing on. So we're on page 42 in your notes, Matthew. So please get out page 42, and we're looking at composition of functions, okay? And I say this all the time. I'll say it, and I'm saying it now for Chase and Michael. Guys, 2 hours is 2 hours. We got about 28 minutes left, okay? So hang in there, work hard, and we'll go from there, okay? All right, composition of functions. Now here's what we're going to do. First of all, if you'll please look in your notes, we have f of x equals 3x to the negative 1 for our f function, and for our g function, if you will look at the top of page 42, you will see 2x minus 1. Now, here's what we're going to do. Now, when I first show you this, you might say, oh, Mr. Earhart, it's not that hard. You made it sound worse than it is. It gets confusing, okay, so trust me. Now here's what we're going to do. We're going to find the composition. Here's how you say this. It's problem number 1. It looks like this. And Mike and Chase ask questions if you have questions. Here's how you pronounce this. Do you guys see it there for number 1? We say f of g of x. F of g of x. That's how you say that. F of g of x, okay? So if you want to look intelligent when you're in college, that's how you would say it, f of g of x. Now here's what you do. Are you ready? What letter's on the outside, F or G? You guys can talk. I mean, it doesn't make a deal. He knows F. Okay. So what you do, whatever letter's on the outside, you write that function. But hold it. When you write the function, look what you do, please. Everywhere there's an X, you're going to put a big parentheses. So let's go over it again. What was on the outside? What letter? F. So because F was on the outside, I write my F function. Men, if G would have been on the outside, I would have written my what function? G, okay? Whatever letter's on the outside, you write that function, okay? Now, when I write that function, everywhere there's an X, I leave a space. Now, go to the inside. What's on the inside? G. That means everywhere there's a parentheses, you're going to put G in. So for this parentheses, I put 2x minus 1. So basically what you did is you took G and you substituted it in for F. That's what you did. So let's go over it again. What was on the outside? F. So I wrote my F function, and where the X was, I put a parentheses. And then what was on the inside? G. So I picked up my G and I put it down here. Okay? And now you're almost done. We're gonna do a bunch of these, okay? I doubt, Matthew, if we'll get to the mean, median, mode, and range, to be honest with you. And that's the least of my concerns. That's 6th grade math. Okay, we'll get to that at the end of the chapter if we have to. Now, you would be done, except look, guys, you have a negative exponent. We never want that in our final answer. Now, this negative 1 does not go to the 3. What's the exponent of your 3, even though you can't see it? A 1. So why in the world would you move the 3? You wouldn't move the 3. The 3 stays up top. But you would bring the 2x minus 1 down to the bottom. And when you do, this negative 1 right here, this negative 1 becomes a positive 1. There you go. You did it. You just did your first composition of functions. Now we're going to use this later in a very difficult word problem. Okay? Yes, Chase, go ahead. Okay, Matthew, what Chase just asked is would we have to put the 1 right here? And the answer is no, because anything to the 1 power is just itself. So you could also write this for an answer. You could just put 2x minus 1. You wouldn't even need the parentheses because that 1's not there. So either answer is fine. Yes, Mike?
Here's no problem. It's like f and then a big parentheses.
Yes.
So where did our 3x, so where did the x from the 3 go? Because f is 3x.
Right. You replaced this x with, Matthew, what Mike asked is what happened to this x right here when I wrote my f function. What you did, Mike, is you replaced this x with this. In other words, you put another function into another function. That's right. That's exactly right. Okay, let's try another one. Matthew, hang in there. And remember this, Matthew, the first one's always the most, it's a new thought process, so just continue to work. Let's try g of f of x, okay? That's the next problem. G of f of x. Okay, Chase, I'm going to start with you. What function is on the outside, g or f? Okay, so g is on the outside, Matthew, so my g function is 2x minus 1. But don't write 2x minus 1. Don't do it. Where the x is, you put a big parentheses, remember? So instead of putting 2x minus 1, I put 2 parentheses minus 1. Everybody okay with that? And now, what letter's on the inside? Mike? Yep, f is on the inside. So that means I'm going to take my f function and put that into the parentheses. And if you'll look at your notes, Matthew, the f function is 3x to the negative 1. Now, that is a really good start, but we're not finished, okay? Now, are you ready? Let's do some simplifying. Now, first of all, I have a 2 on the outside of this parentheses right here. So now I would have this, 6x to the minus 1, negative 1. Now here's what a lot of students want to do. Are you ready for this? They want to put 6 minus 1 and bring the x down to the bottom. Well, no, because the 6 has a positive what? But listen to me, a lot of students want to do that. And you say, well, of course they do, Mr. Hart. You taught us that, unless you've lied to us. Well, we cover exceptions as we get to them. If you'll look at every single problem, whenever we've moved stuff up and down, are you ready for this, guys? Matthew, you ready for this? It's always been when we had one term, like 6x to the negative 1, y. That was all one term, so you could move stuff up and down. Please notice in this problem we have how many terms? There's one term, then you see a minus sign, there's another term, we have 2 terms. So you're about ready to learn something new today, all right? Whenever you have 2 terms, you cannot move things up and down to the top or bottom. You cannot do it. You cannot do it. You're done. That's it. Booyah, finished, done. That's it. Okay? You cannot eliminate negative exponents by moving them from the numerator to the denominator or vice versa. Matthew, you cannot do that when you have 2 terms, only when you have 1 term. And all the ones we've done, all of these weeks and weeks and weeks of math, if you want to go back and look, you can. They've all had 1 term. Everything's been multiplying up top. And here, everything is not multiplying. We have a negative sign. Okay, let's go on to again. And again, guys, look, 2 hours is 2 hours. Okay, whether we're doing this or whatever. All right, let's go. Let's try this one next. F of x. Still done the same way. What is your outside letter? F? So your f function is what? Is it 3x to the negative 1, I believe? So where the x is, what do you put? A big what? Everybody okay with that? Now, what's on the inside? F? So pick up f. Put f inside your parentheses. What is f? Isn't f 3x to the negative 1? So put it inside your parentheses. Now you're seeing these are not as easy as you might have first thought. They can be confusing, all right? Are we good? Now, guys, please look. Michael, Chase, look. Guys, let me use. Okay, please look up here at the screen. If I had 3x squared like this to the 5th power, you wouldn't multiply 3 times x squared first. You would not do that. You would do your exponents first. So look at this problem. You don't take 3 times 3 first. You first of all take this negative 1, you multiply it through. Are you ready? It would be 3 to the negative 1 x to the positive 1. Now, Chase, what is with this 3 right here, even though you can't see it? What exponent? Would you please tell me where I got negative 1? How'd I go for? Good. You were on YouTube. That means you're cyber, you're out there, you're viral, okay? And you got it right. So good job. Congratulations. The pressure was on and you came through. Matthew, Chase said you took negative 1 times 1. That gave me a negative 1. Mike, where's positive 1 came from?
When you took the negative 1 times negative 1.
Good, 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 good. So now I have 3 to the negative 1, don't I? Okay.
So can't you move that? 'Cause it's 1 term.
It's all one term, isn't it, Chase, Mike? So now look, guys, come on. What's the exponent of the x? Positive or negative? What's the exponent of the 3? Positive or negative? So I don't move those. So 3x stays up top, and I bring the 3 down to the bottom, and it has a positive 1 now. Do you see how I did that? What happens to your 3's? Cancel. So what are you left with for a final answer? Matthew, your 3's cancel. You're left with x. All right. Are we doing okay, guys? While you're finishing your stuff up here, and Matthew, I'm going to talk to the men here for a second. Chase, on the quiz, how much do you need to go over today?
Um,
And be honest, okay? I want to help you.
I don't have too many questions. I mean, it's not that bad.
Okay, we're going to try to work a couple of these out of your book then, guys. I really feel it. And again, Chase, Mike, Matthew, 2 hours is 2 hours. Okay, guys, it doesn't matter whether we're doing homework or taking notes. Okay, here we go. We're going to try the next one, Matthew, which is g of x. And I think Chase and Mike are working ahead, which is good. I love that. So g of x. So I'm going to go ahead and start working on it too. My outside letter is G. So my G.
Apply that 2
Let me take, you know your dad. I'm a little slow. I've got to get a little bit of, yes, you would. Yep. So for the G function, I'll put this right here. Chase, don't let pride stand in the way of asking questions. Mike, you too, okay? Now, Matthew, I've been really quiet, just kind of working this out. Look at every step that I did. And guys, I need you to ask questions if you're confused.
It's a lot easier when you don't have exponents.
It's a lot easier when you don't have exponents, or what type of exponents? Negative. Yeah, it sure is. So I'll make sure I don't give you any like this on your quiz or test. Chase, are you good?
Yeah.
Mike? Okay, your homework says 28 through 31 all. And I'm being sarcastic. It's a whopping 4 problems, okay? Let's do all 4. Don't worry about the other page. That was mixing them all together, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, and composition. Matthew, what we're doing now in class, and you're probably, I'm going to let the video run. Now, it's going to be quiet for a while, Matthew, as the men are working, and you're going to have to kind of fast forward the video. But if you'll look at the bottom of your, okay, something just happened there, and I hope that I'm still videotaping. Let's see if we are. It's fine, yeah. Okay, back in Matthew. Okay, Matthew, what we're doing, let me get a new page up here. We're doing page 418. It's at the bottom of your page 42, Matthew. It says page 418, numbers 28 through 31 all, okay? And so we're going to do those 4 problems real quick, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put 4 new pages up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back up, and I'm going to put number 28 right here. Okay, Matthew. So again, it's going to be a lot of silence, but you can fast forward the video. What are the 2 functions, guys? Would someone tell me, please?
4x
To the negative 1/5, or just the 5th power? All right. Negative 5th. So it goes just to the x, not the 4.
Correct.
Okay, is that the f function or g function? Okay.
Is x to the 3/4.
Okay, so g is x to the 3/4. Okay. Mike, same thing in your book? Okay. All right, here we go. We'll look at number 28. So I'm going to start working on it. What is 28? F of f, g of g, f of g, g of f, f of g of f. All right, there we go. So here we go, Matthew. We're doing number 28. You can pause the video, Matthew, and try it on your own, or you can watch me do it. It's up to you. Now, guys, if you totally blew it out of the water, it's okay. Just ask questions.
Did you do -5 times 4 3/4?
I did, yes. And notice I did not take negative 5 times 4 to the 1 power because that's not in the parentheses. So 4 to the 1 power stays 4 to the 1 power. So Matthew, what I did is I noticed my f was on the outside, okay? So I wrote my f function, but where the x was, I put a parentheses. And then g was on the inside, so I picked up my g and I put it inside the parentheses right there. And then I simplified. I mean, you've got x to the 3/4 to the negative 5. You have a power raised to a power, so you multiply those together. And then you bring your x down to the bottom because it's a negative exponent. And your 4 stays up top because it has a power of positive 1. Okay? So with this video, Matthew, you can go backwards or forward. That's totally up to you. All right? You can rewind it or fast forward, whatever you need to do. Chase, Mike, what do you guys think? We're moving on? Are you guys on 29 already? Okay. What is 29? F of G.
G of it's basically the same thing except
Okay, so we have G of f of x. So Matthew, notice my G's on the outside. So I'm going to write my G function.
how can you write the G on the outside when it's only an x? Would you write 1?
Well, here's what you would do. Here's your G function. Matthew, you see this too. Your G function is this. So you write it, but everywhere there's an x, you put a parenthesis. So you simply put a parenthesis for the x, then you put 3/4. That's all you got to do. So there, you wrote your G function. Matthew, you wrote your G function. Right here it is. But where the x is, you put a parenthesis. And now you substitute f into it. And your f function is 4x to the negative 5. Okay? Excuse me.
This is going to be the exact same answer.
It's not, because the 3/4 gets multiplied through and you have a 1 with that 4.
Oh, so the 4 is also
Right. So
3/4.
right. So Matthew, we have powers raised to a power. So we take the 3/4 and we multiply it through. 3/4 times 1 would be 4 to the 3/4. And 3/4 times negative 5 would be negative 15/4. And now what I do next, I'm not sure why I put a 5 right here, Matthew. That should not be a 5. That should be an x. Sorry about that. That should be an x. Now next, we don't want any negative exponents, so we bring the x down to the bottom. So we have 4 to the 3/4 power over x to the 15/4.
Can those cancel?
No, we have an x and a 4. They're different bases, so no. By the way, Mike and Chase and Matthew, I could be as mean as a snake if I wanted to be. See this 4 right here? If I really wanted to be picky, you could rewrite that 4 as what? 2 squared to the 3/4.
What would that do?
Well, it would multiply. It would give you 6 halves, and reduce it. You get 2 to the 3 halves. But I'm not trying to be all picky on you, okay? Right now we're focusing on I'm just trying to show you you can really take these sometimes to a whole nother. And to be honest with you guys, how about this? X to the 15/4 means you really have a radical in the bottom. It's the 4th root of x to the 15. I could then have you rationalize the denominator. I'm not going to do all that to you, okay? This is good enough. We're just simply we're doing composition of functions, okay? Composition of functions. All right, number 30 is next. What do we got, guys? F of f, g of g, f of f. All right, so number 30, according to Chase, Matthew, he said it's f of x. So here we go. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my f function and I'm going to write it like this, but where the x is, I'm going to put parentheses. So it would be 4 parentheses and then a negative 5. And then I'm going to make a substitution. Where the parentheses is, I'm going to put my f function. So I put my f function into the parentheses. F of x to the negative 5, just like that. You'll see it okay? All right. Now, I have some powers raised to a power, and that 4 inside does have a power of 1, so when you multiply that negative 5 through, you do not multiply it times the 4 on the outside, but you do multiply it times the numbers on the inside. So negative 1 times 5 would be 4 to the negative 5. Negative 5 times negative 5 would be x to the 25th. This thing's making some weird noises. I really hope, Matthew, this video is working. But if not, then it's not. I'll just have to redo it. So, okay. Guys, do I have one term up here? Is everything being multiplied together? So if you have one term, you can move stuff around. Do I have anything I want to move around?
The 4 to the negative.
I've got a negative exponent, right? So I'm going to leave 4 to the 1 up top. I'm going to leave x to the 25 up top. I'm going to bring the 4 to the negative 5 down. That becomes 4 to the positive 5. Now, Chase, you might not have thought to have done that. Does that make sense now that you've seen it?
It's
Okay.
4 to the 5th.
Okay, now let's talk about that. Guys, look, I would definitely expect you to simplify this. Look, we're dividing like bases, are we not? Well, instead of doing that, that's fine, Mike. That's a good idea. But I'm saying this, that's fine. But are we not dividing like bases? And so when dividing like bases, you write the base how many times?
Once.
Where?
Top.
In the top. And you subtract the exponent. So 1 minus 5 would be... and then you bring that down to the bottom, and your final answer is x to the 25th over 4 to the 4th. And 4 to the 4th would be 256. So you bring this down to the bottom. Matthew, I'm kind of saying this for you now, okay? Do you see where this 4 to the negative 4 came from, Matthew? We're dividing like bases, a 4 and a 4. When dividing like bases, you write the base once up top and you subtract the exponents. 1 minus 5 is negative 4. Now you bring this down to the bottom. You have 4 to the 4th. So your final answer, I know this is really sloppy. I'm going to write your final answer right up here really, really small. Your final answer is x to the 25th over 256. And where did I get 256? 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. One more problem, men, and we're done, okay? Matthew, as you can tell, we did not get to the mean, median, mode, and range. That's totally fine. Totally fine. And Chase, we can, your mom's going to appreciate over the air on it. She's usually a little late, so we'll get some time to work on your quiz, okay? And that doesn't bother me either. That's good. It'll give us a couple minutes. So, all right, number 31. Of course, it probably bothers you. You're probably ready to get out of here, but I have nothing to do with that. All right, number 31. I'm thinking g of g. Okay, so g of g. So g of x, Matthew. So the g's on the outside, so I'm going to write my g function, which is x to the 3/4. I believe I'm going from memory. Make sure that's right. Yep, that's right. And I'm going to write my g function, but see that x right here, Matthew? Right here, see that x? I'm going to replace that with parentheses. So I'm going to put parentheses 3/4. Now, what's on the inside? Well, g's on the inside, so I'm going to pick up my g function and put it on the inside. This is a pretty nice one to end with. This is pretty easy. X to the 3/4 to the 3/4 power. You have a power raised to a power, so you multiply them together. And your final answer is x to the 9/16. 3/4 times 3/4. 3 times 3, 4 times 4. X to the 9/16. Now, guys, I'm not going to risk losing this video, okay? So I'm going to save. I'm going to go over here and save it right away. Then I'll help you with your quiz. So please organize your notes. Make sure you know what's going with you and what's staying. Matthew, that's it. We did not get to mean, median, mode, and range. So you're all caught up now. I'm going to go ahead and cut the video out and contact me if you have any questions.